Hello friends, welcome you all to Gnandeep Academy for UPSC Pune. In this video, if you want to watch this series on Indian polity where I have made an attempt to cover almost all point of Lakshmikant, you can join this course on our Gnandeep IAS Academy app which you can get on a Play Store. This app, it has inner circle completely red and outer circle quite bluish greenish. You can join this app and all other important instructions are available on that store and that app itself. So if you feel that these videos are very good, do watch, do share with your friends. Your suggestions and all your comments are very welcome. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Hello friends, welcome you all to Gnandeep Academy. Today we are going to study the second part of preamble of the Indian Constitution. As we have seen, two important definitions. First was what is Constitution. Constitution is fundamental law of the land. Second, preamble. Preamble is an introduction to our Constitution. We have seen these two definitions and we have seen first two types of nature of state in previous lectures. They were sovereign and socialist. Now we'll come to third nature of state that we wants to have. The third nature of state is we wants to build India into a secular nation. Right. We have seen what is the nature of state given in preamble. So the nature of state involves five important things: sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. We have seen these five things. Now out of those five things we have studied first two things. We have studied sovereign and we have seen socialist. Now third is secularism. We wants to build India into a secular nation. We wants to make India a secular country. Right. Now, first important thing for your examination, the word secular was not present in the original constitution which was implemented from 26th of January 1950. The word secularism has been added into the constitution by 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. This amendment is also called as a mini constitution. This amendment added the word secularism. Now, this word secularism has not been defined anywhere in the constitution. Now, these two things are most important. The word secularism has been added into the Indian Constitution by 42nd Amendment Act, and second important thing, the word secularism is not defined anywhere in the constitution. These are the two most important things. Now, where we'll try to understand two important types of secularism. One is positive secularism, second is negative secularism. Now what is meaning of positive secularism? Very simple meaning is there. When state means parliament, president, prime minister, council of minister, all government authorities or all government machineries is called as a state. Now what is positive secularism? When state treats all religions equally in terms of opportunities and privileges, it is called as a positive secularism. This is simple definition. When state treats all religions equally with respect to privileges and authorities and powers and opportunity, it is called as positive secularism. For example, India. In India, we have positive secularism. It means what? In India, government gives their respective freedom to the religions in their respective spheres. I repeat once again, in India, government gives respective freedom to all the respective religions in their own spheres. It is a positive secularism. Clear? Like in case of India, government gives subsidies while traveling for Hajj Yatra. Government spends money on Vaishno Devi Yatra and various yatras related to Hindu religion in India. Also, government gives a huge funding to the various programs like Guruta Gaddi in India. So, in India, we have positive secularism. It is Indian concept where state treats all religions equally in terms of opportunities and privileges. Second is negative secularism. In negative secularism, there is strict separation of state from religion. In case of India also, we have a strict separation of state from religion. But in negative secularism, state do not recognize any religion for giving opportunities and privileges. while giving opportunities and privileges, they are based on the citizenship, they are based on the person, they are not based on religion. That's why in negative secularism, state do not recognize any religion, which is a Western concept. Here one important point you have to remember, negative secularism is more advanced as compared to positive secularism in modern world. It means states are having a completely detached, completely separate perspective of religion. States do not want to recognize themselves with any religion, any religious activity, any religious organization. It is a negative secularism. It is the what we can say keyword in current modern world. So secularism, when there is a completely separation of state from religion, it is called as a secularism. In case of India, or otherwise we can see two types of secularism: positive secularism, negative secularism. In positive secularism, a state or government or machinery treats all religions equally, is a positive secularism. Whereas in negative secularism, the state do not recognize any religion, there is no recognition to any religion from state, is a negative secularism. Now, what are the various provisions given in the constitution? This is very important point where you could get question of MCQ type, or you can use this point for writing your answer. So what are the various provisions of the constitution which reveal secular character of Indian state? They could straight away give you points, and these points reveal the secular character of Indian constitution or Indian state. What are those features of the Indian constitution? So they are first preamble, because the word secularism has been added into the preamble by 42nd Amendment Act. So preamble reveal or manifest secular nature of Indian constitution. Second, there are important articles which reveal or which manifest secular nature. There are article 14, 15, 16, then 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and finally article 44, which talks about uniform civil code. So these are the all important articles and provisions in the Indian constitution which reflects or which manifest that Indian constitution is secular in nature, right? And we want to establish a state which is secular in character, which is secular in nature. But the most important thing, the word secularism was not present in original constitution. It is added by 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. The word secularism is not defined anywhere in the constitution. We'll keep remembering these things. Now comes the democracy. We want to establish India into a democratic world. We want to make India a democratic nation. India should be a democratic country. Now what is democracy? You must have read this very simple definition. What is democracy? It is government of people, by people and for people. This is simplest definition you have studied about democracy. It is government of people, government by people, government for people. This is the definition of democracy. Then what is the origin of democracy? The word democracy has came from Greek word demos, which means people. The meaning of demos is people, and kratia, which means rule. So what is meaning of democracy? It is people's rule. Clear? So it is a Greek word demos and kratias, which means people's rule. So democracy is a government of people, by people and for people. Now democracy means people's rule. It is the government of people, by people and for people. Here the most important thing is there is popular sovereignty, means people are sovereign. People have the right to take decisions for their own good or their own bad. People cannot be ruled by any kind of internal or external forces, and people shall have the right to decide for their own good. So it is popular sovereignty, it is people's rule. Various types of democracies are there. Here we will simply try to understand two types of democracies. One is direct democracy, second is indirect democracy. Now what is basic difference between these two types of democracies? One is direct democracy, second is indirect democracy. Here remember one simple example. In Switzerland there is direct democracy, whereas in case of India or USA or in England there is indirect democracy. First thing, in India we have indirect democracy. Now what is meaning of direct democracy? People are directly involved in various decision making related to their well-being. It means in direct democracy there is a direct involvement of people for taking decisions for their own benefit, for their own well-being. It is called as a direct democracy. Direct involvement of people for their own benefit or for their own well-being is a direct democracy. Direct democracy has four important tools. One is referendum, second is initiative, third is recall, and fourth one is plebiscite. Now we will try to understand these four words in a simple manner. We will try to understand this every word's definition. These are very, very important, but before that, remember, these four are the most important tools of direct democracy. Direct democracy is not found in India. The place where people are directly involved in decision making for their own benefit is a direct democracy. In India, our representatives like member of parliament and member of legislative assemblies are involved in taking decision making for people. So in India, we have indirect democracy, which is representative democracy. Now here we will try to understand these four important tools of direct democracy. These tools are referendum, initiative, recall, and plebiscite. Let's try to understand this every tool one by one, what it says. First, let's try to understand what is meaning of referendum. Referendum. Now here the word come refer, right? Now let us see. Suppose what kind of elections we wants to have in India for Panchayat Raj. Whether we wants to have election in plebiscite on ballot paper or electronic voting machine. This is one of the political question. So if Parliament makes a draft or executive, means Prime Minister and Council of Minister or Chief Minister and Council of Minister makes a draft and they referred this draft to people, referring a draft to people, right? For what? For taking their opinion on the type of election you wants to have in India, and we are taking votes of the people on that particular draft. It is a referendum. Means an occasion where all the people of a country can vote on a particular political question is a referendum. Here the government, here I am using the word government for legislature as well as executive. Government is referring, right, this bill to people to take their vote on a particular political question is a referendum. For example, suppose you are my student and I ask you whether you want this particular lecture on Zoom or Google Meet, and I gave you the particular page for voting. That it means I am referring this question to vote. It is a referendum. So when government, that is legislature or executive, refers a particular draft or bill for taking vote of people, direct vote of people on particular political question, it is a referendum. It is called as referendum. First is referendum. Second is plebiscite. It is a vote by the people of a country or a region on a question that is very fundamentally important for them. For example, whether United Kingdom wants to be in European Union or not is a fundamental question. So when there is direct voting on this particular part, it is called as a plebiscite. Or whether people from North Ireland, whether they wants to continue in England or they wants to be a separate nation, it is a part of plebiscite. Or whether people from the Uyghur province, they wants to continue in China or they wants to move out of China, and when it is being put for the vote by Chinese authorities, it is a plebiscite. Means in referendum, we take vote of the people on certain political question, on certain important question. But in plebiscite, we take vote of the people on certain fundamentally important question which are related to their life and liberty, which are related to their livelihood, which are related to their entire whole, it is called as a plebiscite. Clear? So these are the two important tools of direct democracy, where people are being asked to vote on certain important question or certain fundamentally important issues. So it is referendum and plebiscite. Then comes third important part, which is initiative. Now see, law making, which means to make law for the people. Whose function is this to make law? It is the function of legislature, that is parliament or state assemblies, to make laws. Right? It is their prime function given by the Constitution of India also. But what happens if a civil society members frames a draft of a particular law, and this draft is presented into the legislature for taking the vote of the parliament, and if it is passed, it becomes a law, then it is called as initiative. Right? When a legislative proposal is put in legislature by people on their own initiative to correct the wrongdoing in the, is called as initiative. For example, Lokpal bill put into the parliament by Anna Hazare and their team was an example of initiative. When a legislative proposal is put in legislature by people, what happens in case of referendum and plebiscite? Bill goes from legislature to people. What happens in case of initiative? Bill comes from people to legislature. You get an idea? In referendum and in plebiscite, bill goes from legislature to people, whereas in initiative, bill comes from people to legislature. It is initiative. For example, Lokpal and Lok Ayukta Bill of India, which was started during the India against corruption movement. Right? Now recall, it is very simple thing. It is the right of the voter to call back non-performing representative through special voting. What happens? We elect a representative for 5 years. We cannot remove from that person from the post of member of parliament or member of legislative assembly. But in case of recall, the voters have a choice after certain time interval based on certain percentage of voting. Voters have the choice that if they feel that this particular representative is not working for us, he is not good for us, and he is not following or he is not fulfilling all the promises given to us, in that case they can vote in a special voting to call back non-performing representatives, and once that voting is passed, that non-performing representative will be called back. It is a recall. So these are the 4 important initiatives of direct democracy. First one is referendum, second is plebiscite, third is initiative, and fourth one is recall. The best example of direct democracy is Switzerland. Switzerland is an example of direct democracy. Next is indirect democracy, which we can find in India. When people exercise their right to rule through their elected representatives in an indirect manner, is an indirect democracy. It is an example of India. In India, we have representative democracy. In India, we have representative democracy, which is the important part. Clear? So it is indirect democracy. India, USA, England is an example of indirect democracy. Mainly, there are 2 types of indirect democracies are there. One is parliamentary democracy, which we found in India, and second is presidential democracy, which we find in America. So in parliamentary democracy, what is the cardinal principle or what is the important principle? Elected representatives are responsible to legislature. In parliamentary democracy, elected representatives are responsible to legislature. For example, India, Britain, Japan. Whereas in case of presidential democracy, elected representatives is not responsible to legislature. For example, USA, then there is Sri Lanka, and then there is a France. So we opted for parliamentary democracy instead of presidential democracy. India has representative parliamentary democracy. Remember this line. India has representative parliamentary democracy. The word democratic used in preamble signifies not only political democracy but also social and economic democracy also. So fundamental rights aims at achieving political democracy, whereas DPSPs, they aim at achieving socio-economic democracy. I repeat once again, fundamental rights, they aim at achieving political democracy, whereas DPSP aims at achieving socio-economic democracy. In India, Prime Minister along with his Council of Ministers are responsible to Parliament. Here two important lines are there which you have to remember for examination point of view. I repeat those lines, just listen very carefully. Prime Minister and Council of Ministers are collectively responsible to Parliament in general and to Lok Sabha in particular. Why this line? Because Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers have to prove their majority on the floor of Lok Sabha. Whenever a no confidence motion is passed against Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers, they must be cleared on the floor of Lok Sabha. So that's why Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers are collectively responsible to Parliament in general and to Lok Sabha in particular. Then what are the important features which reflect we have democratic functioning? So they are universal adult franchise, periodic elections, rule of law, independent judiciary, absence of discrimination on certain grounds are some of the characters which reflects or which manifest the democratic character of Indian polity. Then two types of democracies are there. One is monarchical democracy and second is republican democracy. So what is monarchical democracy? A democratic political setup where head of the state is hereditary. For example, England. In England, there is monarchical democracy. So I repeat once again, a democratic political setup where head of the state is hereditary, where head of the state is elected by people, it is a monarchical democracy. Republican democracy, it is a democratic political setup where head of the state is elected by the people. For example, it is India. In India, we have republican democracy. Clear? So here remember, monarchical democracy can be found in England, where head of the state is elected by people, is hereditary, whereas republican democracy is found in India, where head of the state is elected by the people. Republican democracy and monarchical democracy. So this is all about democracy, and we want to make India into a democratic nation. Then the word republic. Now important thing. The word republic has two important meanings. You should know these two important meanings very clearly. What is meaning of republic? The republic means a nation whose head of the state is elected by people, is always elected by people. It is called as republic nation. So a nation where head of the state is always elected by people, it is called as a republic nation. The word republic has an implicit meaning. Since people have the choice to elect their own head, it means people have the right to choose anyone as their head. That's why the office of the head of the state is open for all people. It means people can choose anyone from all people. It is the second implicit meaning. So the implicit meaning is, it means top position or office in the country is open for all people. So remember, whenever the word republic comes in front of you, the word republic has two important meanings. First, when head of the state is always elected by people, it is called as republic. When head of the state is always elected by people, it is called as republic. It means the top office is open for, in a country is open for all people. It is a republic. On 15th of August 1947, India got dominion status. On 15th of August 1947, India got dominion status. On 26th of January 1950, India became a democratic republic nation. Very, very important point you have to remember. So this is the case. What we have seen, I will just revise it in a very short format, what is being said. Just a simple points are there, you have to keep it in mind. I will just, what is the nature of state that we wants to have? See, we wants to make India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. What is meaning of sovereign? No internal or external interference is a sovereign nation. Socialist, when means of productions and resources are owned by society, are owned by people, it is a socialist nation. Secular, when there is complete detachment of state from religion, it is a secular nation. Here we have seen two types of secularism, positive secularism and negative secularism. In India, we have positive secularism. Then democratic, it is government of people, by people and for people. And lastly, if we wants to make India into a republic nation, what is republic? When head of the state, that is president of India, is always elected by people, in that case India will be called as a republic nation. It means, it has implicit meaning, which means top office is open for all people. It is a republic nation. So this is the case, this is the nature of state we wants to build India into. Clear? So this is the nature of state. In next lecture we are going to study what are the various ideals before Indian constitution as given in the Indian preamble. We are making an attempt to keep size of the lecture shorter so that you can understand these points in a very simple manner. I personally found that having a larger lecture makes the lecture more and more boring. So keep watching the lecture, keep sharing with your friends, and do join our courses. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you.